bulletin on Sundays. May I know how many of you in Tacloban as well as here in all the campuses read the Manila Bulletin? Oh, many. How about on Sunday, where I have my column? Also, President Roman is reading the example. So will you kindly just, all of you, buy the Sunday Bulletin, clip my column, you can throw away or recycle the rest of the bulletin because it is worth 25 pesos if only you're looking at the waste paper to wrap your chinelas or your bangus or your makeup kit. Just circulate what I'm writing there because it is a sermon because it's on Sunday. And who is the audience if there's a sermon? It's the experts like you and the leaders like those in Malacanang, in Congress, in local government, and the sectoral representatives in academe, in religious, the workers, the farmers, the veterans, elderly, and the handicapped, like my compadre Pat Biloria, the handicapped. Anyway, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much. May we just remind the audience once more time to please turn off your mobile phones. We have a question from UP Iloilo, Professor Robert Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency Fidel V. Ramos. Our question from UP Visayas Iloilo is coming from a professor of history, Dr. Henry F. Funtech.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. The peace process between GRP and MNLF has always been thought to be the answer to the Mindanao problem after the all-out war policy failed. Your administration obviously has been successful in laying the groundwork for the promotion of a lasting peace in the South. Unfortunately, the succeeding administrations muddled the bright prospects. Given the critical situation now, do you think that the elusive peace is still possible in the next 5 years, especially with the very difficult task of confidence building?
Again, I say that it is possible. It is even probable. Kaya ba natin ito?
Yes.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Napakahirap sagot ninyo rito sa UP. Pati kayo dyan, sa Open University. Isigaw natin sabay-sabay na kaya natin to. Kaya ba natin ito? Kaya. Bakit kaya? Kasi meron na mga building blocks eh. Kaya nasabi po ninyo, there have been success stories here, although not yet the win-win solution. But you know, this is just like building a house. And believe me, I know how to build a house because I'm a licensed civil engineer, not a UP graduate. That's why I'm not so good an engineer, even if I know how to build a house. But how do you build a house? You must start all the time with the strong foundations. You must be on solid bedrock. And after selecting the foundations, and the foundations are our people, and our territory, and our history of heroic struggle, and our love of freedom and democracy, especially manifested by the UP vanguards in Bataan and Corregidor, like Captain Paterno Viloria. And so, knowing that, when we put in the other components of the house, yung structural parts, yung sabi, poste, roof, beams, flooring, utilities, like power, water, sewerage, communications, transportation access, kahit na wala kang kotse, dapat meron kang labasan papunta ng bus line or LRT. At saka, importante sa lahat, yung family spirit so that the house can be called a home. Mahirap sa ating kumisan. I hope you understand Tagalog where you are. Mahirap sa ating kumisan. Ang inuuna natin, hindi yung matibay na pundasyon o yung mga utilities for health, communications, transportation, and power. Inuuna natin yung master bedroom. Kahit na marumi yung kusina, kahit na isang toilet sa bahay, kahit na nababaha yung bahay, basta okay yung master bedroom, okay ang bahay ng Pilipino. Yung mga iba pa, yung mansion ang pinag-uusapan, hindi lang yung master bedroom eh. Hindi bale, hindi nyo naintindihan, ano? Okay. As long as you have strong building blocks to build on, even if we are 90 million now, as long as we have a strong home and a quality family, don't you think we can also be a superpower? Ang paniwala ko, mga kasama, kaya natin ito. If we have quality, which really should determine quantity. But going back to the 90 million, which we already have, can you imagine how strong we could be if the 90 million Filipinos had a life expectancy of 71 years old, not 45, who had a literacy rate of 97%, not just 94 in theory, or according to the UP Board of Regents. And connectivity with the world, not through OFWs, but through open universities, open chambers of commerce, open parliaments, and open Malacanangs. Nothing hidden under the table, like the MOA. Janice Peron, with due respect. Can you imagine what a superpower we can be in our region? Look at Germany. East and West at war not so long ago. They only had their German Federation of Unity starting in 1990 after the Berlin Wall fell. Only 18 years ago. They have only 87 million people. They are the number 3 economic power in the world today, surpassing even China with 1.2 billion people. Yan ang lakas ng unity, solidarity, and teamwork. Look at Vietnam. 85 million people, they just went through 2 generations of civil war. Bloody, cutthroat, patayan talaga. Look at them now. They have a GDP of 8%. Of course, their per capita income is less than ours. We have 1,500 US. They have something like 1,000 US per capita. But they are together as 86 million people. Of course, their inflation rate is 25%. But that is because there's so much foreign direct investments flowing in, which they cannot manage that well. But I really envy them because they have been able to put their act together after the bloody wars from 1945 to 1980. Remember, they also fought China when China tried to invade North Vietnam not too long ago. Kaya sa palagay ko, makakaya natin yan. Ngunit, kailangan magkaisa, magtulong-tulong at magsasama-sama tayong lahat mga Pinoy.
Thank you very much. We have a question from UP Cebu, Dr. Rodora Bukoy.
Mayang hapon, President Ramos. You have identified consensus building as one of the paths towards peace. Do you think the move of the GRP panel to proceed with the signing of the MOA, especially on the contentious issue of ancestral domain, contrary to the spirit of consensus building? Based on this experience, since I am from Mindanao, any agreement will not win in areas dominated by Christians inhabiting areas identified as part of the Bangsamoro homeland. There remains an enormous challenge to convince Christians in Mindanao to embrace the historically based claim to the moral right to self-determination. Another related question is it possible to...
Okay, I will just read it for you, sir.
Yeah,
Do you,
okay.
yes. Do you think the move of the government panel to proceed with the signing of the MOA on ancestral domain, contrary to the idea of consensus building, based on the past experience, any agreement will not win in areas dominated by the Christians? There is still a great challenge to convince Christians inhabiting in what is referred to as the Bangsamoro homeland to embrace the historically rooted right of self-determination. What strategies still untried could we adopt to bridge these age-old animosities and bring genuine peace in Mindanao?
I'm sorry I could not also hear what you read.
It's
Will
so
you please
long.
come over here and whisper to me? Dali mo yun. Dali.
I won't be able to read it.
Hindi. Upo ka dyan. Hindi, upo ka dyan. Tete, sandali lang. Photo off. Where's the camera? Isa pa. Sige, okay.
Kunin ko na lang po yun.
Ayan, yan. Buti naman. Yan.
Gusto niyo kong basahin ko? Okay.
Sige. I-design mo yung sir. Okay, what's the next page?
Idea of consensus. Based on the past experience, any agreement will not win in areas dominated by the Christians. There is still a great challenge to convince Christians inhabiting in what is referred to as the Bangsamoro homeland to embrace the historically rooted right of self-determination. What strategies, still untried, could we adopt to bridge these age-old animosities and bring genuine peace in Mindanao?
Okay, thank you very much. What's this from the Visayas?
UP Cebu po.
UP Cebu, okay. That's a good question. But again, I go back to the historical fact